Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Askewed Reviews. And this is actually a review that I said I was going to do a few days ago, and then it just completely slipped my mind that I never actually did it. So, due to the fact that this sequel just came out into theaters, I also reviewed the first film a few days ago, but now I'm finally going to review the sequel. And the movie that I'm referring to is the 2025 film Sisu Road to Revenge, directed and written by Jelmari Helander. That's right, the extremely violent and brutal revenge film that takes place during World War II is back with a sequel, and it is still starring our favorite ex-Finnish soldier who is practically immortal, Atami. This movie is somehow completely different and yet exactly the same as the original film, and honestly, that's what I liked about it. So in this story, as I mentioned, we do have our main character back of Atami Korpi, and he is still being played by Jorma Tamala. This time around, instead of hauling a bunch of gold and facing off against a bunch of German soldiers, he is doing things a little differently. But it once again does start off with him not trying to start a problem with anyone and just trying to live his life. Now, before I go into more of the story for the sequel, there is a little bit of backstory that's required. You see, the first film takes place in 1944. Also in 1944, there was a point where the Soviet Union acquired a portion of Finland. Now, the reason why that's important is this film takes place 2 years after the first one, where Itami is now driving across that border back to where his home was, on the now Soviet side of Finland. Now, the reason that he's doing this is because his home is actually on that side of the border, and so he's going back there to dismantle the home, bring it back to the other side, and build a new home. There is unfortunately a lot of sadness connected to where his home once was, because that's where a bunch of Soviet soldiers tortured and murdered his family. Now, this, of course, is not just going to be a peaceful trip where Tommy takes the remains of his home and makes it back across the border. In fact, when he first crossed, they flagged his name and let their higher ups know that he's currently on their side of the border. Now, the Soviets are not happy at all that he has crossed the border due to the fact that he's become a bit of a folklore legend. When he was a soldier, he managed to take out 300 Russian soldiers by himself. Now, the person that they decide to send to finish the job is currently a prisoner, but he's also an ex Soviet soldier named Yegor Dragunov. Now, the reason why they feel he's the appropriate one to send is they feel that Atami is his fault, as he and his soldiers were the ones that actually tortured and murdered his family. So, with the promise of potential freedom, Dragunov and a bunch of soldiers go after Atami to make sure he doesn't make his way back to the border. Now, the real question becomes, will Dragunov and these other soldiers learn the same lesson that everyone from the first film did, which is you don't mess with Atami and you just let him go about his business? So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is, in my opinion, so much fun, just like the first film. Now, I don't think that it improves anything. I don't think that it worsens anything. So I'm also going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Oh, also, I almost forgot to mention this. I love the fact that Dragunov is played by Stephen Lang, who I think is a great actor. And a quick shout out to Richard Brake, a wonderful character actor who also has a role in this film as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if you've already seen Sisu Road to Revenge, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.